dude, this hat might be coming on.
Get ready to get inspired. This is the Go for the Goldie podcast.
Hello and welcome to Happy Inauguration Day, Wednesday, January 20th, 2021. Today I'm joined by, and this was no mistake, Pga Hope Ambassador and Veterans Advocate, also a founder of the Team Fast Foundation, Nick Martone. How more patriotic can we get than that, Nick? How you doing, brother?
Good, brother. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
Look
man,
good.
I love the big American flag. Seems appropriate for today.
Always, right? Go America.
That's right, go America. That's a team I can get behind. So right off the bat, tell the people who you are, what you do, and a little bit about some of the foundation. Let's get right into it off the bat here.
Yeah, you got it. Born and raised, Buffalo, New York.
Go Bills.
Man, I bleed in red, white, and blue. Go Bills, baby. But yeah, born and raised right here. Played sports growing up. That's how you and I kind of, met actually later on. But, joined the Marine Corps 2006, got out in 10. And then just, years later got involved with such things like you talked about, the Pga Hope Program, founded and started an own foundation of mine, Team Fast, focus always on strengthening our troops. And just been, right now, just living the dream, just loving life. And, can't ask for more.
So, yeah, I met you, like you said, later in life, playing semi-pro ball together, playing football. And when I asked you to come on the show, I asked you to make your cover. I was like, so what title, do you want? Like, for example, like Terrence last week was like, you put professional arena football player, or professional triathlete, or national, whatever. I actually had to tell you, okay, we got to whittle it down to two things because I don't have room for what you sent me. But that does not surprise me one bit because of the way that you played on the field and your attitude. I know you're just a nonstop, ambitious, go-getter kind of guy, and especially if you're in the damn Marine Corps. I mean, that takes some drive right there. So I want to go over everything that you sent me, kind of piece by piece here. And to be honest with you, I mean, what's kind of crazy, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't know that you were like that you even liked golf when I knew you, or when we met. Have you been a golf guy your whole life?
So, my dad, my uncles, I grew up around, they golfed here and there. I really didn't get into it until I was, in service. I joined in 6, and it was after my first deployment. Coming off ship, we were on a Marine Expeditionary Unit, so we had a nice little med float. And on the way back there, we had an extra couple bucks from deployment. So I was like, you know what? Let me get into the game. Where I was stationed at Camp Lejeune, they had 2 18-hole courses right on base. So, we'd cut from, formation and be, good for the rest of the day. And, a bunch of us would, go hit a 9 if we could, before the sun went down. So that's kind of how I got into it. And I kind of always, was a hacker of the game, never really getting lessons, never, really trying to play, really good, just drinking beers, having fun, so, but yeah, I got into it, seriously, just, probably 2015. I was coming out of a PTSD program here in Batavia, New York, getting through the mental health side of kind of, transitioning and, from service. And, when I found out about the Pga Hope Program in our section, it was, I say a lot of times it was life-saving, but, as you know, because you played sports, being, a part of a team and being in that kind of environment, is huge, just it's purposeful, it had, it gave me purpose, and that's when I really started to enjoy the game, because I was, looking back, I'm not as young as I used to be. And if I could, I'd still be playing football today. I'm sure you would.
Yeah.
Too, but
oh yeah.
it's like, golf's one of those. Golf's our life sport. Seth Ross said it best. CEO of the PGA of America. You can play golf from the youngest age until the oldest. So it's something that I love now and love spreading awareness about as a PGA Hope ambassador. So.
No, that's so cool. So I mean, honestly, man, right off the bat, I'm so pumped that I got you to come on the show, and I'd like to apologize in front of all the people watching, which is probably zero, but I asked him to be on the show before, and it was completely my bad. I had the unrealistic expectation. I had to live in Buffalo for 7 weeks because it was in October, and it was from one of my best friend's weddings, and it was when you had to do the 2-week quarantine, and I'm like, man, it'll be easy, man. I could just take the whole studio with me to Buffalo. It'll be fine, no problem. And obviously, it was not anywhere what I thought it was going to be, and we had to cancel. But I'm happy they got me on, because right off the bat, I mean, the purpose of this show is to hopefully inspire people to realize that life does not end when you're 21, 22. You can pick up hobbies, sports later in life, and still, there's those people out there that are really competitive. Hi, Nick. That really want to get that out of their system. And there's ways, and I think personally, because I know I am this way, it's like unhealthy for me to not get out that competitive edge, and I have nowhere near the experiences that you've had, being in the military and that camaraderie in the team. Yeah, I mean, obviously I miss the idea of being a part of a team and all that kind of stuff, but that's not even near the same level as what you've experienced. And I think finding these outlets and finding these different channels, I mean, there's a guy, I'm not gonna dox him here, but he follows me on Twitch, and he was in the military too. His name's Onyx, great guy, love him. Shout out to Onyx. And I know he's dealt with a lot of the same stuff that it sounds like you have. And even if we can inspire in any way, shape, or form, so right off the bat, I mean, you got into golf at, how old were you? You said in 15, right? So
when I first started, probably 23.
There you go. So picking up a golf club for your first time at 23, and then really getting into it when?
I'd say 4 or 5 years ago.
So around 30, something like that.
Just when I started the program, yeah, absolutely. 30.
Yeah, and that's exactly when I got into triathlon. So there you go. You can pick up sports later in life, and if you're competitive, you're gonna find out a way to be good at them. So that's kind of the mess. So that's pretty cool right off the bat. But that's a great lead-in too, because you mentioned the PGA, Hope Ambassadorship that you found out about, and of the things that I wanted to talk to you about. Let's start off with that one. So what does that mean to be a PGA Hope Ambassador exactly?
So the PGA Hope Program is one of 3 pillars that the PGA Reach Foundation focuses on. So the PGA Reach, their 3 pillars is the youth, veterans, and then there's an inclusion and diversity piece there too. So specifically the Hope Program, helping our patriots everywhere, is just it's a 6 to 8 week program that's held. Now, it used to be held just for only, 6 to 8 weeks here in Buffalo, New York, at our headquarters now, which is at Glen Oaks Golf Course. Timmy Freeze, Steve Barkowski, huge and bringing this program and what the whole program ultimately is to veterans in our area. And it's designed to enhance, the social, physical, mental, and emotional well-being of veterans. Chris Nowak, my boy, Marine veteran, awesome dude. He says it best too when, he talks about what the game does for veterans, and when you do have, a ball, right? That little ball that you got to focus on and get down each fairway or each hole, whatever it is. And for that moment in time that veterans, are focusing on that, it's something that they don't have to focus on, or the experiences that they've had, through service. So, again, for me, being an athlete, being competitive, like we played, by the way, you were a beast as a wide receiver, brother. I was always trailing behind you.
I don't know about that, but okay.
dude, to see what you did, and how you started that triathlon is just inspiring in itself too. So
Thank you.
God bless you, man. So yeah, I mean, golf, again, something that I picked up that, I loved. It was challenging. And, I joined the Marine Corps, back in 2006 for a lot of the same reasons. I needed a challenge. I tried to play, I played a little, college ball at ECC. And when things, really started, I planned, my dreams were to play, one day in the NFL or at a high level in football. And when that started not really being the path I was supposed to take, did I look back to my grandpa? My grandpa was a Marine. He served and lived a great life, great family. So I figured, why not follow in his footsteps? So, but going back to, the golf, I mean, just being the best, we could be. And when I started picking it up through the Hope program, just everything that those PGA professionals do and how they volunteer their time and really dive into giving you the best tips, tools, and advice they can give on to playing, good golf is really what I started to take, and I just, have been aspired to be a PGA professional now. I actually took my PAT just last year, which is a player's abilities test. It's one of the first steps you have to do to become a PGA pro. You got to shoot a good round. So
holy shit, that's incredible.
I'm kind of, leaning in that direction, but I've been, being involved in the program and seeing what it does for other veterans is why I've stuck with the program. And, and thank God for Tim and Steve and the nomination that I was given to be, one of 20 veterans, the first 20 veterans that were Pga Hope ambassadors across the country to go back to their respective sections and raise awareness.
Wow. Congratulations, man. There's only 20 of you guys in the country?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Man, like the Pga Hope program, it was first class. I mean, truly, like the professionals that, are in our section, I'm sure across sections all over, are really showing, veterans what it means to, lead by example, to be a true professional. And that's something that I loved about it too. But yeah, they flew 20 of us out to Congressional Country Club, which was home of the CIA back in like 1924. So the history behind that country club was just phenomenal. Got to meet legends like Lee Trevino, another Marine Corps veteran. Lee Trevino, my man. I tell everybody, I'm like, man, I had no idea who Lee Trevino was until I seen Happy Gilmore.
I was just about to say, he's a star in Happy Gilmore. He's not a golfer. He's just a star in Happy Gilmore. That's all.
He'll go down as, one of the greatest, if not the greatest shot makers of all time. An incredible story, just a treat. I mean, to see him speak at the Metropolitan Club downtown DC. So the whole weekend was built around not only advanced lessons on the game of golf through the professionals like Jason Epstein at Congressional and Judy Alvarez, who are huge in the program, are just doing fantastic things. The Cohen Clinic actually had brought in the mental health side too, which was something that I really loved. Something that obviously one of the reasons I started a foundation myself, because I knew, the transitioning from military service to civilian, takes time. It takes effort. And they tied in a lot of good points, through that weekend, and getting back to be, just recharged with, just great knowledge, great just enthusiasm to come back and keep on doing the good works, man.
That's incredible, man. I'm really proud of you. This is a whole world that didn't exist when, we were playing football together, right? I mean, none of this was even a thought when we were playing football together, and that was not that long ago. That was like 6 years ago, right? 5-6 years ago, something like that.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Also, like any great, podcaster, my mom dropped in on the chat, and she says, "Hi, Nick. I'm so proud of your accomplishments." So
I love your mom. I love your mom.
Well, she loves you too. So yeah, she was very excited to know that I was going to be talking to you today. So she's definitely watching. So when you said when you were talking about I don't know if I misheard you, but you said you were blessed to be one of the 20 people that was selected. Is this the first time that they've done this program, or has this been around for a while? Or
So the program, and I'd like to say the program started, I think our section was one of the first sections to start the Pga Hope Program. And
Wow.
that was back in 2014. Our headquarters at that time was at Fox Valley. And back then, 2014, 15, we might have had a handful of veterans, maybe 10, 15 veterans tops. And when I got in around 2015, still the same amount, but as the years have grown and we've been able to, get the word out. And that was half the battle too. A lot of the veterans had no idea that this program was available and being offered as a recreational therapy too for veterans. So, so just, having this program, get off the ground, maybe like I said, 2014. Now, not until just last year was the first inaugural, national. It's the National Day of Hope, and it was the first 20 veterans. I got buddies like Randy down in Texas, John in Carolina, a ton of buddies all over the country that are representing their sections and doing great things to spread the word.
It's incredible, man. It's pretty cool that Buffalo, was selected to have, be a part of it too. So what's your, like, do you guys have like territories? You know what I mean? Do you cover like Rochester and Erie too, or you know what I mean? Or are you like Western New York?
So our section, Western New York covers Erie, Buffalo, and Rochester. Another huge piece to my puzzle actually as a golfer and just, throughout my life was a PGA professional, Brian Jacobs. He's a golf academy instructor. I met Brian earlier this year during our winter. So one of the things when I got back, my gosh, this whole last year, 2020 COVID, right? It was like just a blur.
Yeah.
But just before COVID hit, what I did when I got back 2019, August around, was to break up because we were only having one 6 to 8 week program during the summer, starting in May, and went 8 weeks, and it was great. But being in Buffalo, not being able to golf year round,
Mm-hmm.
it was for me a no brainer to say, hey, listen, why don't we have a winter program so we're not waiting another 6, 7, 8 months to get back and meet people. So we've done creative things to keep the veterans that are in the program engaged, like doing morning roll calls, virtual type meetings. And we actually we did a winter program just early 2020 at the Pga Golf Dome, and did a 6-week program there. So yeah, it's just it's been great, man. I mean, I love it.
That's such a cool story. And so how long, I know you said back when you first started, you said maybe like what, 10, 15, veterans were a part of it. What are your numbers like now in Western New York?
We had to close it off, and in COVID, obviously being our biggest year in buildup, we were just coming off that winter session. We were looking at 100, plus vets this year.
Wow.
And, we had to cap it off. I think around 50, just to stay safe and maintain that social distancing as we worked groups and, kind of navigate that COVID world with, obviously staying safe. And that was one of the best things too. Golf was a huge way to still stay, active and play and
flex that competitive muscle,
social distancing. Yeah.
So, all right. So where's the Team Fast Foundation kind of fit in all this?
So, getting out 2010, I struggled, like some vets, most vets, not having a plan, purpose really. Got caught up with trying to, mask and self, medicate with drugs and alcohol. And, not until things got the worst before, I realized I needed some help, some mental health counseling. I checked myself into the PTSD program and getting out of that. And again, reminiscing and thinking about, the times of playing football and the teams and how I felt, like how my depression wasn't there. And it says a lot too, and sports in general says a lot and has a lot to say about, our moods and how we feel, every day. I'm getting ready for a marathon, so not drinking and staying on a more strict kind of regimen, with exercise and diet, does wonders for the body and your mental health too. So, but yeah, Team Fast, redefining it. When I got out, I didn't have all the signs. Like nobody gave me a book and said, here, this is what it's going to look like for you possibly for the next, 5 to 10 years. so for me, I think the education and knowing about certain things first, has a big part to play in just everybody's transition, whether it's, slower or faster. I got out 2010, until I realized I needed, solid mental health counseling so I can get through a lot of the stuff that, I was experiencing with PTSD. That was like half the battle, and a lot of veterans don't, get, the information that they need to go get counseled, or, hey, we need to get you on a more decompressing type regimen where everything's a little low idle, getting into, things that you love to do again. Recreationally, we want to be able to provide just the best, experiences too. And that's why I love the Hope program and what they've done, because, being able to go to congressional and have that experience now replaces, those bad ones that I had in service. So that's, it's redefining the way veterans, transition, because every veteran went through a boot camp, right? And whether it was, 6 weeks, I don't know, the Army, I know Marine Corps, 13 weeks, when you get out, there's no post, boot camp that gets you prepared for, life after service. So that's what Team Fast is ultimately going to do. I mean, ideally, we'd love to have a facility that incorporates all that, a little of the mental health, a lot of the decompressing, a lot of just the education on, what to experience, and having, resources and people around, and at least knowing about those resources and outlets that you can get in contact with if you're, looking for something else.
So where does the name, where does the name come from, Team Fast Foundation?
So Team Fast, like acronyms, the military's popular with their acronyms. Being fast, literally to grab veterans as they're getting out and pull them in to that team, to that family, to network and decompress and give them, kind of what we see as a great transition out of service. Being literally fast to do that, so they don't experience down the line, or get lost in kind of, what veterans get lost, because we're obviously, our goal and mission is to cut down and eliminate, that veteran suicide number, 22 a day. And I think a lot of it has to do with having those resources and having that love and support through veteran-like friendly organizations to do that. Is ultimately going to make the difference.
Man, you are doing some meaningful work, man. That's some cool stuff right there. Congratulations, seriously. That's great, man.
Thank you.
So I want to get back to, I know you don't want to talk about yourself, but I want to talk about you, and people want to hear about you, so I don't care. When you talked about the PAT, I think you said. So yep. All right, so I don't want to brag, but I golfed a 95 the other day, so I'm basically a pro now. No, I golf maybe 3 times a year, and I don't know where that came from. I think I was just inspired by the Bills, so they're doing their best. I had to do my best, do it for the Bills.
Huge.
With you taking that test, though, and I mean, obviously the goal is to eventually, get the card and be able to, go to tournaments and stuff. Because I have a lot of golfer friends, and they are begging me to get into it. And my problem is with triathlon, as you can probably know, or Saturdays and Sundays are usually like your long days, for training for marathons or triathlon, and those are like your most important days. So. Last Saturday, I woke up at 4:30. I had 12 miles to do before my 7:30 tee time, and then I golfed 18. I mean, I was freaking exhausted.
Good for you.
The Bills game was at 7:30 that night, so I wasn't going to sleep anyway. I had to keep myself busy, but that's not the standard. I couldn't do that every weekend.
Heck yeah.
Going back to all my friends, that golf and everything, they're going to want to hear about this. So, PAT, what's involved in that? Like, what exactly does that mean, and what were the results of your test?
Yeah. So oh my gosh, yeah, it's been great, and the Pga Hope Program has been huge because it's the only program taught in the country by PGA professionals. So that was the thing, me getting into golf. I never really wanted to spend the big money to, get with the coach or get with the PGA pro and get the lessons. Obviously not until I heard about the PGA, Hope program, and it was getting free lessons. It's a 6 to 8 week program. They dive into just everything you need to do to get your game where the best it could be. So using the tips, using that, getting in touch with, Brian Jacobs and having him really take me under his wing and coach me up. To be a PGA professional, you have to go through a PAT. So it's the Players Abilities Test that you can go online. I think each section, if you have a PGA section locally, you go online, you find where the locations are. Now it's back-to-back. You have to play back-to-back 18s with an hour break in between.
Walking, I'm assuming?
And basically pardon?
Walking, I'm assuming?
You have to walk.
Yeah.
I think, no, actually, maybe I rode.
Okay.
I think I rode. Everybody was separate, too, because it was still during that COVID type,
right.
Time. So, but yeah, you had to play back-to-back 18s, and every course is different, but it's usually, a target score that you have to hit for each 18, and it's usually around 77, 78 you have to shoot back-to-back.
Wow.
And then once you pass that PAT, you're considered an associate. So when you're an associate, that gets you into being able to do some of the book work, learn the business side of the PGA, obviously events and planning and stuff like that. So there's even, phases through the academic work. Some people get it done within 12 months. Some people maybe string it on a little longer. But once you finish the book work side, you get your PGA card and go into kind of the direction you want to go with, whether it's retail, or owning your own course, or for me, coaching and teaching.
Wow, that's really cool, man. I didn't know that existed. That's pretty. I mean, it's pretty straightforward too, right? I mean, it gives hope to every golfer out there that thinks they're good. You hear that? Back-to-back 77s.
It's tough. I never being in that never putting myself in that situation was a lot different. And I mean, the game of golf has just done so much for me, to be able to, realize, visually see certain things, stay, patient and composed, and so much translates to my everyday with it's great. But my gosh, so many nerves on that first tee, and it was at a home course. And Tim Freeze, the owner of Glen Oaks, he's a PGA Western New York PGA Hall of Famer. He goes, when you get out there, start betting. He's like, no, you didn't say start betting. No, I can't say.
We'll take that out. We'll take that out of the podcast.
He goes, yeah, start betting. But I mean, the idea was to, have fun. Here's a guy who's, played some of the bigger stages, played, some bigger tournaments. And I'm sure a lot of golfers maybe that will listen to this will understand, yeah, some of my best rounds were like the rounds I was just having fun, not thinking about it too much, So for me, being my first experience, being my first time, being, having to do that, my gosh, off the tee was a par 5. I snap hook it right in the woods. So I'm already hitting 3 from there. I ended up getting out of there with like maybe I don't even want to tell my real number, but it was a few over the par 5.
You chipped in. No, you chipped in. I bet. Yeah.
But just the nerves, put yourself in those situations, will hopefully better you and better your game, because everybody wants to play great. Everybody's got a little foot wedge, behind the tree, still hitting, 2 or whatever they would have if they wouldn't have moved it. But, golf has just been something I've just picked up. I love, and the family and people around it too. So
see, you have me and you. I've always connected with you because you have that attitude where you're not just gonna do something for the hell of it. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do it, you're gonna go all in, and that's just you're gonna be good at it no matter what. Like no matter how hard you got to try or how much practice it's gonna take, you're gonna be good at it. I mean, I've always like connected with you in that mindset, and.
Yeah,
I could tell, and that's why I've dipped my toes in the water with golf, because I know if I put my foot in, I'm just gonna dive right in over my head, and I can't handle any more hobbies. I freaking do magic. I would just learn the damn Rubik's Cube. Like I'm all over the freaking place,
I seen that trick too. That was good, man.
Hey, I actually took I took lessons. It was it was awesome. but I took lessons. This is embarrassing that I'm saying this, but I don't care. I took lessons. The guy was in Australia, and it was over Zoom, and it was me, this Armenian chick in Boston, and this like really old dude in San Diego. So it was this like really weird group of 3 people who would never hang out with each other in real life, talking to this guy in Australia on Wednesdays. It was great though, and we got along, and you know, we supported each other, and we'd eat. You know, it was awesome. But yeah, so I actually have a vision board that I put up. Last show there was nothing on it, and I said I was going to have it filled out this week, and there's still nothing on it. So my vision sucks apparently. But but one of my goals is to learn a magic trick every week. You know, that's my goal. Amongst other, I mean, that's not my number one goal. So, that's not all I have to do this year is learn a magic trick a week, but that's one of the goals.
Awesome.
But yeah, so golf is,
I love it.
But it was, you're right though, when I told you last week I golfed with my friends, and it was my buddy's birthday, and he was just like, we're not going to keep score. I mean, we'll keep score, but I mean, we'll just keep it real loose. Who cares? You know what I mean? We're just going to hammer drinks and, just go for it. Who cares? And I wound up golfing my best round that I've ever golfed in my life. And I had no business doing that because I haven't practiced. I haven't golfed since like August. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of it is just loosening up and having that mentality, like just go out there to have fun. I think you're definitely right about that. I was going to ask you too, you may or may not be able to share some of this, publicly or whatever, but I know you were involved because I was just thinking this weekend, I told my fiance Jenny, you remember Jenny? I told Jenny today, I'm like, let's go to Topgolf this weekend, and then that got me thinking about the Buffalo version of that with Encore, and I know you'd briefly mentioned it, in passing when I was texting you back and forth about coming on, but is that still happening? Do you know, or is that like, do you have anything to do with that, or? And if don't say anything that'll get you in trouble. If
No, I won't. And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because Steve Colton, co-founder of Encore Golf. Actually, he makes these beauties, these beautiful Bills Mafia 17 golf balls. It's a Buffalo brand, Buffalo golf ball.
After we get off this, I'm going to Venmo you money, and you're going to send me those. Or can I buy them off the website? Does you ship them like?
I'll send you a link actually. Because it's a Buffalo brand ball, man. This ball is literally I hit it for the first time when I met Steve, and actually another good buddy of mine, John Osberg. I'm wearing his shirt right now. Johnny Osmosis, big shout out to my boy
Johnny O.
He's an Encore ambassador as well as Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a huge golfer, in the off season, and so I think early on when they first came out, I think they tweeted it, and they put kind of a what an Encore facility would look like, downtown Buffalo. And I know there was things happening, there was a lot of momentum going into it, but I'm not sure whether they're still going through or somebody else is picking it up, but certainly the idea, to have something like that downtown Buffalo, because down at Canal Side's just, blown up. It looks great down there, near the military park, and just that whole downtown area has been great. The community has been rallying. Steve Colton and Encore Golf, man, I hope they finish it. I hope something comes together and we can have a facility down there. But, our long-term even views and goals and vision for even Glen Oaks, where the PGA section is going to be actually undergoing some hopeful new updates for our veterans and the youth and the inclusion, diversity, and just everything. So we're looking to do some upgrades even to our section come soon too.
That's incredible, man. That's what I think. Now that I'm like talking to you about all this stuff, I think you had the same epiphany that I had. Football wasn't going to be a forever thing. Especially, me and you are the same height. We were getting tossed around. We were the shortest people out there, and we're like, for what? You know what I mean? Especially when we were playing arena ball, it's like, okay. I can't be doing this.
Take us back to Philly. Take me back to Philly for that tryout, brother.
Let's go. So I forgot about that. So me and Martone went to the Philadelphia Soul tryouts, and that was some pretty intense shit, man. I remember that. And Ron Jaworski was there, And
Yep.
I remember because my dad met me down there, and yeah, he was still alive then, and he went down and we met. I ran up to Ron. I'm like, I got nothing to lose. I'm not going to make this team. I'm down here for the experience, you know. And I ran over to my dad, or I ran over to Ron, and I was just like, hey, Ron, you know, I'm a big fan from Buffalo, you know, and he's like, oh, and he talked just like he does. Did you talk to him? We've the picture with him, right? Well, your daughter was
we had the picture,
tiny. Yeah.
But briefly. Yeah.
And he talked just like he does on when he was on ESPN, you know, oh, how you doing, son? Good to see you. And he ran, and he's like, who you down here with? And I told him my dad, and I pointed him out, and he ran right over and talked to my dad and introduced himself. So that was pretty cool. That was a moment I'll never forget. But yeah, we got that picture of me and you with our Bills hats in front of the Eagles practice facility. I remember that. That was awesome.
Heck yeah, man.
So
that's huge, dude. I mean, take me back, man. I was talking, a buddy of mine, Eric. You know, he, co-founder of Buffalogo. Actually, I just golfed with him last day, but he actually put something together at another buddy's place of mine, Jesse, Buffalo Golf and Social, and actually the special guest at this golf place. We were doing it, closest to the pin, but Stevie Johnson. Stevie Johnson was there hitting golf shots. I think he was just getting in the game. So I get there and we're hitting, and Stevie's hitting shots, and I end up, I don't know how, I end up winning this, closest to the pin contest there.
I don't know how. He's trying to get his pro card. He doesn't know how he won, though. Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of good sticks there. There was a lot of good guys that were hitting good shots, and so long story short, I won it, and we, Stevie gave me a Why So Serious shirt that Buffalogo has, and him and I were talking about it after, and we just the way we were talking, and talking to an athlete, a guy who's been there, I've watched and. Well, I had the audio book of Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, and I think he talks about this.
Another Buffalo guy, by the way.
Another Buffalo guy, David Goggins. Shout out, he's an animal, but that dog mentality, and I think going back to playing and stuff, we had such a cool conversation about just that mentality and what that does, not only on the field but for off.
Yeah,
everything.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is I think that me and you had that epiphany where, you have to be self-aware. I don't like the person I am when I'm not working out or not competing or training for something. I'm self-aware like that. I know that I have this like infinite energy. I don't know where the hell it comes from. Like I'm nuts. Like you know what I mean? I know I'm nuts. And luckily Jenny understands that too. So even when we're on vacation, I'm like, I'm gonna go run, and she's like, all right, see you in a bit. And I gotta just because otherwise it's just like I'm all ramped up all day and I'm a lunatic. A
lot of energy coming over here. A lot of energy coming out of these two guys right here.
That's right. It's the Italian nonsense, So I did want to ask you though. So I did want to talk to you about your marathon training. So all right. So you're doing the Buffalo Marathon. What is there a reason, or you just deciding that you want to get into running, or what's going on?
So I'm, again, high energy, right? Like yourself. I was sitting down, just coming back, from DC, from my trip, to DC, and sat down with Steve Barkowski, our executive director, and he great guy, just so much for our veterans he does. So we're sitting down, we're kind of talking about maybe what the next year looks like for fundraising and raising awareness, and I forget how it happened, but we were at Grover's in Buffalo, having those juicy burgers, and my gosh,
on transit,
he must have said something. Oh yeah, yes sir.
Let's go.
He must have said something along the lines like, well, we can always do the marathon. He said marathon, and the year before we did 100-hole marathon, which is different clubs do it different, or different fundraisers do it different, the way they do the 100 holes, whether they do it throughout the day or they do it as fast as they can, or if it's like a leapfrog thing. So when he said the marathon, I think he was talking about doing the 100-hole marathon again, this upcoming year, and I took it as he wanted to run a marathon. So me thinking that he said running the marathon, I go, I'm in. I go, I'll run a marathon. He goes, no, wait, hold on. He goes, wait a minute. He goes, no, I meant doing the 100-hole marathon. I go, oh, I thought you were talking about running a marathon because I was down for that too. He goes, we sat there in silence for a couple seconds. He goes, you know what? That might not be a bad idea. He goes, if you run a marathon and you're going to go 100% in, he goes, I'm in. And I go, deal. We shook on it right then and there. You know, early. I think it was maybe December 2019. We shook on it there. A week later, we brought in a buddy, Johnny, and he was our other team member. He was into it. Has a great story, and we've been training ever since. Again, obviously, the Buffalo Marathon got canceled, right, 2020. So, we pushed everything back now, and I've been training. My gosh, I don't think the last time I ran more than 3 miles was in the Marine Corps. It was in the military.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll see if I can't hook you up with maybe a pair of shoes. Cause I don't know what brand you run. Well, what brand do you like running in?
I got a pair of Brooks on right now. The Brooks, is it Ghost?
Yeah, that's a neutral brand. That's a mid cushion neutral shoe. I know my shoes.
Yeah, it's a little bulky. I know my buddy's into it. I mean, he's got 4 different pairs of shoes, and I'm just trying to put miles on my legs and on these shoes.
Well, I'll see if I can't get you. So I used to work at when I was playing ball with you. I worked at a store, is a running shoe store in Buffalo. So I learned like it was a run specific specialty store. So I learned about all the So I learned about all the different brands right over there in Delaware. Shout out to Fleet Feet. Great store. If you need shoes, go there. Heck yeah. But I learned about all the different brands because it's basically the reps come in and they give you like they seed pairs, they're called, to have you test them out, wear them in the store. You're on your feet all day, and I was the outreach and training coordinator, so I basically was really knowledgeable about all the shoes, so I could suggest different shoes for different body types or people, or different running styles and all that kind of stuff. And I fell in love with a brand called On. I post about them a lot because I'm annoying, but I really like them. If I really like something, I'm not going to shut up about it. And
yeah, especially when you're running sub 6s. What do you?
Well, you move your legs. I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, you're flying. I love it, man.
But I fell in love. I fell in love with On, and I just bought all their shoes, and then last year was the first year I actually became an official part of the On Run crew. So they provide you with all different kinds of shoes, and they make clothes and running shorts and all that kind of stuff. And it's been really cool, and I've developed a relationship with the representatives for the Dallas area. And 2020 sucked because I couldn't go. You represent them like at the big marathons in the area and go to different running events at the different stores, and none of that happened here, so it was kind of a wash. But hopefully I get it again this year. But I'll see if I can't get you a pair. You can test them out and see. You get me some golf balls, I'll get you a shoe. How about that?
Heck yeah, somewhere on the way, brother. You got it, absolutely. And that's the thing, my buddy John, Fleet Feet. He's like, yeah, we'll get you socks because socks play a big part of it.
Big part. Oh yeah.
And just getting, my soles and stuff like that. So, as I get into it and as I run more, I'll probably see what I'll need. And I think they're a little heavier. I want to say they're on the heavier side. So I don't know,
I felt that way too.
I'm definitely going to have something new.
Yeah,
I'd like to have something lighter.
They have what's called little run pods in them. So when you run, instead of the whole shoe bowing, the little pods absorb at different angles as you run, so it's a real soft, but they're not as bulky. I mean, they're the lightest shoe out there. So opposed to those toe shoes and all that nonsense that you want to run in. But yeah, they're great. I'll shut up about them. But yeah, I'll see if I can't get you a pair, man, because it's especially for like a cause like you have. They're always looking to do inclusive. Have ambassadors like you. So yeah, we'll see what I can do for you there, brother.
Dude, you're the best, man.
So how's the training been going? Are you ready? What's your longest run been so far? Have you done a marathon yet at all? Or?
So last year, working up hard, once we got the no-go on the Buffalo Marathon,
Right.
some of the team kind of just said, all right, they stopped training. Myself and another guy kept on really, training for the rest of the year, and I helped him finish, I think, his first marathon just a week or two. I actually rode a bike. I posted about it.
I did see that.
Good, one of my best buddies here, Johnny Osberg, and he continued training, continued diving in, like he just didn't let up, and he was actually, a big part of his story too was, he went sober, earlier in the year, in regard, while training and just everything. He made a complete lifestyle change. So it was coming up on the 1 year anniversary of his sobriety.
That's great.
And he figured he'd run a marathon. So I was with him for that. So he's huge and just encouraging me, getting my runs in, getting in longer distances. The longest I ran was actually last year when the Buffalo Marathon was supposed to be held.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got out. It was, and I don't know what conditions are ideal or best for marathon running, but I'm guessing it's not like 95 degrees, humidity.
Not great. Not great.
I took off midday, noon, or 12 o'clock, and I headed out. Brian, I must have got 17 miles, and my body just shut down.
That's about the spot too. That's about where the breakdowns happen. Is at that 17
really?
mile mark. Yep. That's not a joke.
Oh my God. So it goes back, going back to, looking back on how I was training and how I was, building up to it. It wasn't where I needed to be. My training wasn't where I needed to be for me to, really, finish the 26 So, a lot of that falls back on just the preparation and training.
So what you're saying is, you're happy COVID happened because it got you out of the marathon, and wow, you're an ass.
I won't mention any names, man, but I'll tell you what, when COVID hit, like our team was ghost.
It
gone.
Depleted, huh? Yeah, we're out of here.
They were like, thank God. Oh, yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you that it takes. I've had to change my mindset because when I first started getting into this, like those morning runs, like when you got to get up on a Saturday morning when it's cold, because if you're training for the Buffalo Marathon, you start in the winter. So you're running in snow, and when you wake up on a Saturday morning and it's like 30 degrees and you got like 15 miles to hammer out, you're like, why am I doing this?
It's been great. Well, you know what, and thanks to you too, because following you and seeing you and how just every day the commitment is there is just inspiring. I mean, behind me, I bought my first tri bike.
Dude, that's sexy.
That's sexy. End of last year. Little felt, I think. Is it felt? Yeah, felt. But man, just to stay obviously indoors and get the cardio in.
Yeah.
I mean, biking's been a huge part of just keeping me hopefully on track.
We got to get you on Zwift. I ride my bike on Zwift every day, and we can do group rides and stuff, and we can talk together. And yeah, actually, I'd love to. So one of my goals this year is I want to start fundraising too. Because on Twitch, you can actually fundraise. They have a kind of a conduit for you to do that. So I want to start doing, maybe like a century ride here and there, or, some kind of challenge where, or, a marathon bike ride where it's like, if you pledge a quarter for every mile I go, or, you know what I mean? It's just some kind of idea, and I go as long as I can. I want to start doing some kind of stuff like that. So I wanted to, you mentioned before we got on, and I told you to shut up because I wanted to talk about it on the show. So you were talking about, I know because I live here that the PGA is moving their headquarters here. And then you mentioned that there's some kind of job that opened up in this area.
Yeah. So, my buddy, Steve, he texted me the other day a link, and he said, hey, take a look at this. It was a job opening. And Laura Miller was, I think she was our national PGA lead. Really organized our national, I think, Day of Hope. And we have great people, in national and Frisco now because they move headquarters to Frisco. Mm-hmm. And so that she had happened to take another position somewhere else, and the job opened up. So, man, my buddy told me, he goes, hey, why don't you apply? And I was I was thinking about it. I mean, this is obviously my path. This is where I'd love to stay. It's where my heart is. It's what I love to do. And so I'm like, well, of course. All right, well, let me see if I can apply. And so my buddy Steve told me about it. I called, Chris Nowak. I said, is there a job opening in Frisco? And I'm sure he doesn't want my energy in there. And he's like, I think so. And he's like, yeah, apply for it. Just hopefully, we're it's going to be open for a little bit. But again, it'd be a national PGA lead position, and I moved down to Frisco, and again, doing a lot of what I'm doing now, but on a national level, a national stage, and getting more things available and provided for veterans is just a love of mine. I love it, and the reason why I'm running the marathon. It's for the cause. It's for my brothers and sisters I served with. So I couldn't find a better reason to run a marathon.
Dude, that's amazing. I mean, I don't know. Name a better candidate, right? I mean, you've been in the military. You've been serving them. You've served with the PGA now. You know what I mean? You're trying to make a career in that. You've made connections. Yeah. So, I mean, selfishly, I didn't want to talk about it before we started because I wanted to ask you here. You don't have to answer me now, but
yeah.
I don't know if you saw recently. I played in a flag football tournament at Cowboy Stadium.
I did.
So we're playing in one again on April 10th and 11th. So I'd like to offer you a spot on the team if you can make your way to Frisco. You could kill two birds with one stone. You could check out Frisco. You could knock on the door of the PGA and be like, hey, hire me. And then we could play some football and scratch that itch you got too.
Oh, my God. Now, you guys won that thing, did you?
No, we won our first couple games. We were the 2 seed going into the – so how it worked, it was awesome. It was an awesome experience. I don't want to take away from it. But the only thing that kind of sucked about it was me and my buddy Devin, we signed up as free agents. So you basically go into a pool, and then they divide the teams up by the free agents. And they divide it by your skill level and what you put down at least, and what position you are. You say offense, defense, or I'm a quarterback. So our quarterback was not very good, and our team wasn't that great, But we so right after though, we got off the field at Cowboy Stadium, and we're putting a team together. So. The team.
Let's go this year.
So we have 9 people, and it's a team of 10. So you would be the 10th if you wanted to play with us. So let me go over the team with you. It's a pretty good team. So it's me.
No.
It's me, Devin. Devin's sick. He had a couple interceptions, and he's just a playmaker. This is my buddy from California. My buddy Lorenzo, who is a ridiculous athlete. He's a soccer player, plays at high level. Remember Juice and Trey?
Juice and Trey.
They played with us on the Gladiators. Yeah, the brothers.
Yeah.
They're coming down here, so they're going to play with us. They
okay.
have their own trucking company, so they can work it into because they travel across the country. Yeah, so they're coming down.
Yeah.
My buddy Danny, who got drafted by the Diamondbacks and played 10 years of minor league baseball. Who else we got? We got Terrence. Terrence coming. I asked him last week on the show. That's why I wanted you guys back to back on the show. And then this guy Sydney. I actually met playing foot golf in Buffalo when I was home. He is a crazy good athlete, and when I posted about it on Instagram, he DM'd me. He's like, "Sweet invite, bro," and I'm like, "You want it in the next one?" He's like, "Yep." So he's gonna be playing. And we have this crazy good quarterback. He's played flag football, and if you look at his Instagram, the dude's just constantly doing footwork drills, and he's jacked, and he just moved here from Detroit, and he's a high school quarterback, and he's played a ton of flag football. So that's our squad, man. We got a good team. So if you can make it down here, the invitation's open, brother. And
dude, we're gonna connect sidebar. We're gonna have offline. We'll definitely talk. And dude, if I can, I will absolutely.
I'll send you the link. All right. So this is my new thing I like doing. All right. So I bought these things. They're called pod decks.
Yeah.
So I figured we've been talking about golf. We've been talking about what you've been doing. These things are just random questions, all right? So this is going to be a new part of the show because people want to know about you personally. You know, they want to learn a little bit more about the, you know, what's going on in Nick Martone.
Absolutely. I like it.
So I'm going to shuffle them up here, okay? And I'll eventually get a jingle for it. We don't have one now, so I'll just say, like, this questions with Goldie. Or something like that. All right.
Dude, that's awesome. I think you should just put that back and replay that.
No. Okay, so here we go. You ready?
You got it.
Question 1. Boom. If you could be... Oh, I asked that on the last one. Okay, we'll do it again.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. This is a good one. What technology do you wish existed? I'm seeing these for the first time too, so I have no answers.
Technology I wish existed. Oh, I don't know. You know, we're doing something here in Buffalo. You know, a can drive. You know, some of the people we've just been connecting with have just been so supportive, and actually at the golf course we have this huge trailer just put right on the right in front almost, that people can come drop off cans to benefit our program, the Pga Hope Program, Team Fast, focus always on strengthening our troops. So I'd say because when the first idea of because golfers, right, when guys go out, they're drinking beers, they're tossing them in the garbage. Well, the garbage now gets thrown out, and apparently if it's in the garbage, I don't think at the garbage they're re-recycling these cans. It all just goes in the garbage. So I guess if there was a technology to come out, it'd be a better way to separate the cans and trash and actually have those cans being redistributed to fundraisers or organizations that are doing great things and for great causes.
No, that's great.
I think that'd be a cool technology there.
Off the top of your head too, that's impressive. It seems like you thought about that for a long time.
Well, I just it makes sense because like when we first were introduced, my buddy's like, hey, there's a couple bags of garbage back there, and he's like, but there's a lot of cans in there too. So I'm like, heck, man, hell with it. I'll go through the bags, see what we can get with cans, and we've been doing little things to slowly, obviously, just help our community and help Mother Earth out too, while separating the cans and then putting them to a good place. So
that was good. Wow, that was a great answer. I'm impressed.
Good technology there.
I'm impressed. Who says concussions make us dumber? I was gonna say stupider, so apparently they do to me. Okie dokie. All right.
That's awesome.
Let's skip that one. We did that one last week. Here we go. What day would be your best day ever?
Oh, what day would be the best day ever? I don't know. I think maybe even tying COVID and what it did to separate everybody. I think a great day would just be without fear, without anybody worrying about getting sick. Having family and friends all come together. I remember as a kid, we used to have family reunions, right? With all the extended families would get together and we'd have volleyball going or playing on the playground. I think that'd be a great day to have all my family and friends together in one spot. Maybe it's the Bills Stadium, since we're off to the playoffs, but have a huge family gather. I mean, I think that would be one of the best days.
I was gonna say that's a cute answer, but the right answer is 3 weeks when the Bills win the Super Bowl. So
heck yeah,
let's go,
man.
Let's go.
Dude, Mafia out here, dude. I love it.
So all right, so if you were to die and come back, but obviously you never will because you're Nick Martone. If you were to die and come back as a person or thing, what do you think it would be?
A person or what? What was that?
A person or a thing. Hebe Hot Dog 2 is in here and says, "What's up?" Hi, Hebe Hot Dog 2. What's going on?
What's up? What's up? Person or man, that's a tough one. Person. I mean, again, just because it's recent. Mr. Martin Luther King Jr. Person. Talk about inspiring. Talk about a person who just stood and believed and just, something bigger than himself too. And, I think this country and having, today being inauguration day, having more people, to inspire, just more love and every family and everything that you do. I think he'd be a good person, especially since we celebrated his day just this past Monday. So Martin Luther King.
Man, that is some inspiring stuff, man. I was going to say like a bike or something. So, okay.
I'm trying to stay relevant. I'm trying to give you the best.
That was good. No, I like that. I mean, let's hope it ends differently for you, right? I mean, we don't want it to end that way, but yeah, no, that is a sweet. No, that's a good sentiment, man. That definitely is definitely a good sentiment. So, what's the worst job you've ever had? This is a good one.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I've had some pretty tough jobs, in the Marine Corps, and also out. I'd say the worst job. Oh boy, that's a real good one. I mean, you try to do everything with just enthusiasm and everything. I'd say doing those cans was pretty tough.
Yeah.
I mean, always in the back of my head, you always know it's going for a great cause and great stuff, but man, like you'd be surprised like how many people are just throwing trash in cans and
yeah.
Man, when that stuff's old and sitting, that's stinky, dude.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. You got to keep telling yourself why you're doing it, right? Like I'm doing this for the good of the cause. I'm doing it for the good cause.
Keeps me in the fight. I'm all probably got the gloves and the mask and everything else, but that's sometimes our worst things are the best. Give the best outcomes. So,
yeah, I love it. That's a great answer. I'll tell you. I was an expediter. Do you know what an expediter is?
Expediter.
So it is literally one of the worst jobs imaginable. It is, so you're the link between the kitchen staff and the front of the house and the wait staff. So
okay.
I did it at a pretty major burger chain. I don't want to mention them, but they give away free French fry refills. I still couldn't say it. So.
All right.
As an expediter, you basically are standing around until the rush comes, and then the rush comes, and then it's just chaos for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then just as fast as it comes, it goes away. And there's nothing you can ever do to avoid or prepare yourself for that 3-hour, 2-hour rush. And when it's coming, you're getting it from every angle. The kitchen staff is yelling at you, the cooks are yelling at you, the waiters and waitresses, they're yelling at you, and everyone's coming in. They want their food now, and on top of that, with the free French fries, I did this when I was in North Carolina, and there was, there's a pretty thick accent that people have in North Carolina, and the guy's name was Domino. I'll never forget it. I have no idea what his real name was. All I know is his name was Domino, and he kept saying. He would say fry fill as Fravi. He would just keep yelling that at me, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, man. Like I never could like. So he used to get so angry at me, and I'm like, I can't help you, man. I don't know what you want. I just can't help you, dude. And he's like, Fravi, bruh, Fravi. I'm like, I don't know. Just use words. I don't know what you're saying. But it was just like so stressful every day, and I'm like, for what? I'm just at a burger joint, and then I would you did tip share, but you had to go after the waiters and the waitresses to get your share of the tips, and they'd be like, well, you didn't serve the food, so I'm only going to give you like a fraction of, and that was the most. I couldn't wait to leave that place. I think this is 5. Have you been paying attention? I haven't been paying attention.
This was 5 coming up here. Yes.
Okay, all right. Let's find a good one. Let's see.
Jobs. That was a good one.
Let's see. This is a good one. What are you most excited about right now?
What am I most excited about right now?
What are you most excited about right now?
It's got to be the Bills, baby.
Let's go.
It's got to be the Bills, baby. I mean, the Bills going to the AFC Championship, it being 26 years, since our return. I mean, you have to I don't want to say, I seen this coming, but to see, McDermott, talk and, what he's always preached and just the culture in which he's tried to bring to Buffalo for the past few years.
Yeah.
Seeing, Josh Allen's progressions and how he's just, that kid's, I don't want to say Hall of Famer, but I do want to say, just a Hall of Famer. He's beaten Jim Kelly's records.
Yeah.
This
is just the beginning, hopefully.
Dude, the beginning, man. This city's on fire. Last week when we beat Baltimore, I'm sitting there. I'm 100 miles an hour right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going. And it suddenly hits me. I'm like, oh my gosh, the city's got to be on fire right now.
Yeah.
So I grab my bike. I take it off the trainer. I ride down. Now, from me, and thank God it was a nice night. It was a good night. So I took off from where I am downtown. It was 11 miles straight there. Cut through near Delaware Park, hit Main Street. Boom, I'm down there. Now I get there. There's cars driving around the horn. Cops have already blocked off, kind of where to get, in front of City Hall there. But there's people on the stairs. People were going nuts. I'm like, oh my gosh. I get out of there. I go up towards Allentown mob. The guys are doing burnouts in their cars. People jumping through tables. It's an exciting time,
God.
to
I got
be in
chills,
Buffalo.
man. I saw the video of Allen and Elmwood. The cops blocked it off, and they were jumping through tables in the middle of the street. I'm like, oh my God, this is just so long. Our poor city.
I had to see it. And it's funny because all the old Bills fans that remember really the 90s and that, have just had for so long this mindset of, oh, well, old Buffalo's going to do it again. And, it doesn't feel that way for my generation, our generation, and even the younger guys, the younger kids that are seeing, us play some really good football right now and just put it all together. It's just, it's awesome, man. It's awesome to see.
What's cool too is all the people that I've met down here, like Devin, I was telling you about, he's a Green Bay fan, and one of my friends down here, he's obviously a Dallas fan, being in Dallas, and Dallas is a place, especially Frisco, that has grown so much that everyone is from somewhere else, and I've just been known as the Buffalo guy, and 2 years ago when we moved here, it was the 1 year in the past 4 years they haven't made the playoffs. They made it that miracle year, and then the year after that they missed it, and then the past 2 years they've made it. And I don't know if I've ever told you this. It's pretty wild. When I worked for FC Dallas, the owner of FC Dallas, it's the Hunt family. They own the Kansas City Chiefs too.
Really?
Yeah. So Lamar Hunt. This is a pretty cool story. Lamar Hunt is from Dallas. And he wanted to buy the Cowboys back in the day, but obviously the Cowboys, well, maybe not obviously, back then the Cowboys weren't that good. And he was really young, so they decided to not give it to him. They decided to give it to, I think it was Jerry Jones at the time, maybe someone else. But he got pissed, so he made his own team, the Dallas Texans, in the AFL. So the Dallas Texans were competing for market share in Dallas, and Kansas City didn't have a team. So then he moved the Dallas Texans to Kansas City, and the rest is history. So Lamar Hunt has, he's passed away, but he has ties to Dallas, and he started Major League Soccer. He just started it from scratch. He was one of the founders of Major League Soccer. So he owned Columbus and Kansas City for a while, but then once Major League Soccer started to get a little bit bigger, and they were like, you can't own two teams, then he decided to own FC Dallas, because that's where his family's from. So that's the connection there, and it was pretty cool because the owner of, he was my boss. I got to know him, and super, super nice guy and really passionate. So it's a shame I don't work for FC Dallas, because I would love to. It'd be a fun rivalry, you know what I mean? Bills and Chiefs. Who would have thought? I saw a stat too. Do you know this happens every 27 years?
Oh, so last time we had to beat Baltimore to get into the AFC?
No, the Chiefs. We played the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game 27 years ago, and 27 years before that. How crazy is that?
Really?
Yeah, to go to Super Bowl I, it was to play the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills were almost in Super Bowl I. Yeah, that's pretty wild, right?
I love it.
Yeah,
I love the history.
That was a crazy detour we just. But I was gonna say it's cool being in Dallas, being known as the Buffalo guy, and it's not like, we're the Giants, or it's not like we're the Steelers, where we've been there, or it's easy to be a bandwagon fan. We're so innocent, and like the fundraising that Bills Mafia does, and being a part of it is just, I think it's contagious, and people. We were at in Texas is a lot more wide open than New York is, so we can actually go out and watch the games in public. At the bar that we were at, they still social distance and everything, but we had 10 of us at a table watching the game, and me and Jenny were the only ones from Buffalo, but the entire table was rooting for the Bills because they just it's so genuine, our excitement, so it's pretty cool to be that, and having them go as far as we have, and God bless Josh Allen. God bless Josh Allen.
I mean, I say, oh my Josh now, like, instead of oh my gosh, it's oh my Josh. I mean, it's again, man, it's just again the culture, just the believing part, the believing aspect, just and then the community, just like the love and support has just been on full display, for everybody to see and the country to see, and hopefully, and I think, I think we have the team to do it.
Well, you asked me earlier, when's the next time I'm going to be in Buffalo? I forgot to mention that if the Bills do go to the Super Bowl, we are definitely driving home for that. I would rather be, even if it was normal and like you gave me 2 free tickets, well, maybe not free, but I would rather be in Buffalo witnessing the people and the riots and not riots, but like the party in the streets, as opposed to like being in Tampa Bay for it. I want to be with the people I had season tickets with, my mom and my friends and everyone. I just, you know what I mean? Like that. So if they somehow, not somehow, if they do it, we're getting in our car, we're hightailing it to Buffalo, because I would definitely want to be there for that. Yeah. That'll be freaking something.
Call. We'll get together, brother, for sure.
Hell yeah.
Get some Duff chicken wings. We'll get some wings, and
I like that you said Duffs. Good call, brother. Well, listen, it's been over an hour, man. I mean, do you have anything else that we didn't cover, or like any last message that you want to throw out? I mean, what you've done is crazy inspiring, and I know it's not easy to talk about some of the things that you've been through, so I appreciate your openness, and let it rip, man. Anything that we didn't cover, or anything that you'd like to add to any of the things that you're doing?
No, brother, I gotta thank you, man, dude. You're the best, honestly. I appreciate when we spoke a few weeks ago and talked about this. I'm just I'm truly thankful for people like you to be doing what you're doing, and again, continuing to just fight the good fights, to continue to inspire people and do what you're doing. So I mean, this opportunity has been great. I don't know. It's been a long road, and I think ultimately for me, if I had anything to say, it's just keep swinging, or keep running, keep biking, keep doing what what drives you to keep going. Because COVID was, whether it brought the worst out of people or the best out of people, COVID was a tough time, especially with the mental health side too. It put the mental health kind of perspective, and how tough sometimes it is, for people to deal with isolation and depression and stuff like that. So for me, being a veteran advocate, being able to talk about how, sports and being active and staying active helps in that, is awesome. It's just ultimately just, the goal, and I'll continue to do it. You can, follow me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, on Instagram. Definitely our Western Europe PGA section would love to see the support. Obviously we'll be launching that marathon hopefully tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be the big news. We'll be doing it because I think this year should be pretty good, or at least they'll have a better kind of way of spacing out the run throughout the day to make sure the Buffalo Marathon happens this year. We'd love to have you, and I don't want to put you on the spot either, but May 30th. You know,
I'm in. I'm in. You don't have to. You don't have to pull my leg. I'll be there. I was gonna go home for it this year, but you know. And
I love
so
it,
the other
dude.
thing I was
Yes.
going to tell you too, or ask you, is where can people drop off cans if they want to support the cause?
So our cans locally in Buffalo are located right at the Can Redemption Centers in Buffalo. I think there's one in Kenmore, Tonawanda. There's one on Sheridan Eggert. There's one on Brighton and Colvin. There's one on Sweet Home in North French, and then in Cheektowaga there's more. So there, the Can Redemption. If you bring your cans, drop them off there. If you wanted to, just let them know that your donation or your cans today will want to be donated to the PGA Reach Foundation. It's already in their system. And if you're close to the East Amherst area where Glen Oaks is, we have a trailer and a drop bin right there, right in front of the course. You can bring your cans anytime you want, day or night, and we'll put them away. And then as soon as we get a full load, we'll be bringing them right to the Can Redemption place. So.
And the same thing goes for your front window too, right? Or if they can't make it over there,
Yeah,
they just
right,
throw them in the front window.
I've had it's funny because I'm like, I gotta get a truck. I need a truck. And when I first started doing the cans, I was making trips myself. Pretty much 2-3 times a week in a Chevy Equinox. Okay, with my daughter's car seat in the back, so that had to come in the front seat. I'd fold the seats down, I'd roll out the plastic tarps, and get as many bags as I can. So the drives there I don't miss, smelling the fermented stale beer, So now that we have, our trailer right on site there, through a friend, a good buddy of mine who owns ARCA, good buddy, Greg Shoemaker, a huge supporter of our program. He had a trailer, heard about our program, and said, "Hey, I got a 40-foot trailer. If you guys need, just put it over there and collect the cans, and we'll truck it back and forth for you." So, we're really really starting to build some good momentum around what we're doing, our cause, and for our veterans.
That's amazing, man. Well, I'm really proud of everything you've done. Seriously, and thanks for taking the time to come on here. And as always, for anyone listening to this, all the links to everything he's got going on, I'll drop in the description and the podcast. So if you want to support or learn more about it, or, I'm definitely going to start a petition to have him come down here for the flag football tournament if you want to throw your name on there, No, seriously,
Absolutely.
though, man. I appreciate it, brother. Love you. And, we'll be in touch, all right?
Love you, man. God bless, brother.
Yeah,
Thank
you too.